understand the approach, and I have a term for it. I call it the commando approach to doing stuff, whether it's doing business or whether it's doing, a sport in Pakistan. You've taken the bare minimum of resources and tried to get the best results out of it, and you're going to continue to do it. I mean, and I'm very positive that at some stage the resources will come up to the stage where you want them to be, and which you're ambitiously you're very ambitious in keeping your eyes set on the goals and your targets, and I'm sure that the whole thing is going to come together, particularly in this age of Conor McGregor. As in, it's a tough sport. That Nate Diaz is going to complain that I'm not getting the fights, that this guy is taking it away. But nevertheless, now we have the MMA sport going to a level where there are people like Conor McGregor who are earning money which is comparable to a certain extent to the boxing big league people. And we're talking about, it's gonna be comparable at some stage. You can see the direction. Previously, even the biggest names were struggling. In that sense, it remains a tough sport, I guess, across the board. What I find really surprising is that the UFC is sold for $4 billion, which is the biggest sale in sport history. And there's people who are complaining, still complaining that, hey, where's my money fight? It's a bit of a dichotomy. It is.
And it's always going to be that way.
Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz 2.
I actually didn't see the fight.
You didn't see the fight?
I knew it was going to happen. Look, there's basic things. The first time, Diaz is bigger, like on paper. I usually don't comment on these things because as a coach and as an MMA practitioner or mixed martial artist, I know the difference between the difference between sparring in the gym or learning a move and then actually implementing it in a fight. At the end of the day, it's a freaking fight. The tension levels are high. There's shitloads of people watching, and then you never know what's going to happen. What we see or what people see in front of that in that TV is just that end product. What happened? What's going through the fighter's mind? What happened before that? There's guys that fought like 2 days after their sister got. Vitor Belfort fought after some time after his sister got kidnapped. So those guys are real fighters. So I know that because I've been behind the scenes and behind the cage when it comes to fighting. Is fighting no matter what it is. The emotions are the same, the feelings are the same, the technical level might be different, the money might be more, there might be more people watching and all that sort of stuff, but at the end of the day it's just the same. The environment is the same, right? So but yeah, I would usually not comment on that based upon that, but that's just my take. But I was telling my boys, they were like, oh, Diaz versus Conor McGregor. I was like, there's no point. I was like, Conor McGregor, if McGregor wants to win this fight, he'll have to duke it out to a decision. That was the only way. That's just, if you cannot knock a guy out, if you don't have knockout power, if like you're fighting a guy that you cannot finish, decision. Hit and run, hit and run, hit and run. That's the end of the game, At the end of the day, that's what you have to do. Score the points, get the hell out. Score the points, get the hell out. And I just saw a few clips of it, and of basically what I read online and everything after that was like the same thing, decision, right?
Yeah.
I didn't see the fight, and I'll definitely go watch it when I feel like it. But sometimes it just, the first fight was just it for me.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, the second fight was, as predicted, similar in many ways, even though the result was different.
Yeah.
But it kind of followed the same sort of pattern, and a lot of people who have seen that fight don't have a good feeling about it for some reason. It's not a very comfortable fight to watch, particularly if you're whether you're a Diaz fan or whether you're a Conor McGregor fan. It's
See, that's the problem with the fans. Like sometimes I tell my guys, fuck everyone, forget about everyone. Forget about the country, your family, and it's you fighting in there. In a way, it's me or Sultan with you standing in there. We're fighting because we're giving you a third person perspective from the outside. And you're acting upon, so it's like us. We're fighting in there. So forget the rest of them, because the fans, if you're gonna I've as a fan, I'm not just a fan because even as an MMA fan, I can never let go of the technical aspect of it. The mixed martial artist in me, or the MMA lover in me, the technical side of me will never allow me to just say, oh, it was just a boring decision fight, or blah blah blah. for me, at the end of the day, if I win or lose doesn't matter, because if you get into a fight, if I see two guys fighting, one of them's going to win, one of them's going to lose. That's what happens. Even if the judges give it a draw, like everyone's going to have an opinion, right? But I mean, if you're losing, that's a problem. You're going to get cut, right? Oh, he lost. You can be kicking the other guy's ass for like 4 rounds, and in the 5th round or like the last minute of the 5th round, he lands a shot, and there you go. And then now people are talking shit about you. Or if you win, who John Fitch was a guy that was like not, because he was winning most of his fights by decisions, and the UFC cut him. He lost a few, but at the end of the day they cut him because he's not an exciting. Dana White calls it, I don't like guys who wrestle fuck each other. Yeah, but they're scoring points as well. That's just an aspect of the game. You cannot say that,
Have you been following Stephen Thompson?
Yes, Stephen Thompson. Before he was in the UFC, I saw some of his kickboxing fights that he would do, and the guy's wicked, And then he's one of the guys that obviously is his championship material, solely because of 2 reasons, in my opinion. The first thing is that his understanding of the game of MMA is so good that he's just used his own style. Like, I've never seen a guy so confident in spinning and giving the other guy his back, as him. Obviously, he's lightning fast and stuff, but he's understood the sport of MMA so well. And right after his loss against Matt Brown, he just he fixed, he tweaked. Clinch was his problem. Clinch was his problem. Unless you have a wrestling or a Muay Thai background, if you're a Kyokushin guy or a sports karate guy or a Taekwondo guy, clinch is going to be a problem for you, because these arts, they don't have the answer to clinching. They don't. And if there are any answers, they're very limited. And then the best ones for these are obviously a bit of boxing, Muay Thai, the whole Liam thing, they call it clinching, and wrestling or judo, whatever, any clinching sport. Mix it up with striking. You have something better there. Those arts are better ingredients when it comes to the aspect of clinching. He's working with Chris Weidman. He's getting mauled by Chris Weidman, I'm pretty sure, every day on wrestling, and you see that in his game. The way he handled Big Rig. I forgot his name.
I know what you're talking
Yeah, the guy with the beard, right? Big Rig, right? Johnny Hendricks. Johnny Hendricks. The way he handled him. Holy shit, I was not expecting that. And that was pure. That was just like, that fight is instructional for the people who like to kick. And I'm one of them, because my background started off in Taekwondo, right? And then Kyokushin. Obviously there's punches in Kyokushin and stuff and that, but my main thing is my legs, man. If I try to box with a Lomi, I get the shit beat out of me every time. And I'm teaching people boxing. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's different training. You train everything. Do you think like Johnny Hendricks has never trained kicks? I'm pretty sure he has. If he hasn't, then he's stupid, because he should. I'm pretty sure he has.
I think the level of confidence that
in using a weapon in a cage is
he's
different.
He's a great guy in the sense that Stephen Thompson's attitude.
He's a martial artist. Because his background. That's what. See, there's mixed martial arts and then there's traditional martial arts, right? Now, at the very base, it's the same. What is jiu-jitsu? It's a traditional martial art, right? Kyokushin, Taekwondo, Capoeira, anything. All these things, anybody that wears a pajama or like a white gi or that wears any robe or whatever, let's talk about the Filipino martial arts and any other martial art or African martial arts or whatever. These traditional martial arts, what is MMA? It's basically, where do you bring all the ingredients, where do you bring all the tools from? Right? Exactly the same thing. You pick everything from there. So as a mixed martial artist, I cannot segregate between the two. When people say tradition, at least, or when I say traditional martial arts and mixed martial arts, I'm talking about the mentality. Because as a mixed martial artist, I've been exposed to so many martial arts, and then I think I'm lucky that I got to know the essence of those martial arts. I don't give a rat's ass about what technique Shotokan has to offer, but I would rather like read up on Hichin Funakoshi, the guy basically is the founder of Shotokan. What is his take? Why did he create a style? Or why does he choose those move the way he moves? Or why did he incorporate those things into his style, into Shotokan? Right? And what is the science behind it? Why did Masoyama come up with Kyokushin? How does he defend it? Right? What do the Koreans have to say about Taekwondo. Obviously it's D-shaped now for fighting, and you can see the same thing happening with jiu-jitsu. Now there's sports jiu-jitsu, and then these guys who are doing jiu-jitsu as well, but they're fighting in MMA, and then there you see both jiu-jitsu practitioners and like fighting like Crips and Bloods online. You jiu-jitsu is not for streets, and then you see these guys like they're like, I'm not gonna fight in the streets. It's a sport. I like it. Well, the same guys were bashing Taekwondo a couple of years ago. The same guys were bashing karate. The same guys were bashing capoeira or tai chi or wushu for being like too impractical, or Wing Chun. Martial art, man. These arts were built to fight. Obviously, they got D-shaped, federations, association. These things have existed hundreds of years ago as well, I think. I don't know, at least. I mean, if you look, there's dojo hunting, it's called dojo yaburi in Japanese, and the same thing used to exist in mainland China as well, style versus style. Right? Associations and trainers. It's not like federation is a new thing. These things have existed. There's always been, every time there was money involved in martial arts, the moment commercialism came in, people had to come up with, the smart ones had to come up with a way to like sort of like gather more, or hoard more than the rest, right? So these things have existed. But I mean, yeah, just everything is changing, everything is evolving. Jiu-jitsu, from being Gracie Jiu-jitsu, the royal family of MMA, to like, pulling guard and doing worm guard. And I have nothing against these things. I love these things and I would love to explore more. But then, the same guys, now they have this, all of a sudden they have this epiphany that, wait a second, Taekwondo might have been created because it was created for the military. It was a kickboxing style Taekwondo basically. Then they wanted to make more money. At the end of the day, it's all about that. Oh, we're going to promote Taekwondo. How? By making it for everyone? Sure. What's your method? Let's water it down. Let's take out the punches. Let's wear a hogu. Let's not kick each other below the waist. Let's not punch each other in the face, because not everybody can take it. That's exactly why like 20 million or something million people in the world are practicing Taekwondo. And people still choose to send their kids to Taekwondo because there's a belt, you have to pay the belt fee, there's a uniform, you have to buy that, blah blah blah, and then you don't have to fight. You just your 3-year-old's gonna punch through a marble, he's gonna break it, and everybody's happy. The trainer's making money. WTF is like World Taekwondo Federation. They're making money. The IOC is making money. Whatever, there's someone somewhere is making money. So that's what they're doing to jiu-jitsu. Right, so and these guys have the audacity to like hate on each other. You can't do that. We're all in the same mix.
And lastly, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. I think one of your favorite fighters.
Oh man, I love that guy. He's just watching him fights I'm like, and trust me. Sometimes I just want his fights to go to a decision sometimes. I just really want his fights to go, because the longer Mighty Mouse stays in the cage, the more notes I have. and I've always been a huge proponent of conceptual training. Right? When for example, if I'm going to teach my boys how to stand, and I'm going to tell them, keep your hands up. And I'm going to tell them why. Because if you don't, and like there's new guys like, oh, why should we keep our hands up? And then I was like, drop your hands and stand in front of me. And then I slapped them straight in the face. I was like, maybe you would have blocked it if your hands are up here, right? So it's a common sense thing. So that guy, his approach is totally technical. The way he says it, like it was like I have a toolbox and I go like, okay, if the guy's an aggressor, okay, the same so and so department, okay, he's a wrestler. What do I do? Pop, pop, pop. What does my kicking repertoire has to offer? Against a wrestler? What does my boxing repertoire has to offer? What does my wrestling pedigree have to offer, right? Or my Muay Thai has to offer? So it's the same thing, beating a wrestler using Muay Thai or using Taekwondo, kicking or clinching, or kicking a boxer, punching a kicker, or clinching with a good striker. Stuff like that. So he does that, and that's conceptual training. If you're going to throw an inside low kick, before you spend those hours and hours, or before you do those 500, 600 reps, it would actually help if you ask your teacher, what is the use of this technique? Why am I using this? When will I use this? And if you know that, you're going to be good. And I think that's exactly why Mighty Mouse is, he's just pound for pound the best in the world. The way he handled Henry Cejudo, Cejudo is not a joke, man. He's an Olympic wrestler, gold medalist. And the way he handled him, and before that he was talking about it on JRE with Joe Rogan, and he was talking about it like he was saying that if I'm fighting Muay Thai, I would use my wrestling to dominate the match. And if I'm fighting a Thai fighter, if I'm fighting a wrestler, I'd use my Muay Thai. What did he do? What did he do against Cejudo? Fucked him up in the clinch. And you see that. And every time you see, just watch Demetrius Johnson fight. Every time he moves, there's a reason behind it. There's a reason behind it. If you're going to sidestep, there's a reason behind it. If he's going to do a quarter turn, there's going to be a reason behind it. Every time he's going to go jab, jab, inside low kick, there's going to be a reason behind it. And the way he shoots, man, the way he fought. Watch his fight against Norifumi Yamamoto. That guy's... and Yamamoto is I think he's a world... I don't know if he's competed in the Olympics, but he's like an international level wrestler. Mighty Mouse took him down at will, and the way he was doing it was faking. Strike, 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 and he was like going head hunting, and all of a sudden he would do that, and just level change and shoot. It's art. It's literally art, and I love that. But anyway.
To close this, we're going to move to a different topic. Music. You, and it came as a surprise, you were a great singer as well. And I mean, it doesn't come lightly from me in the sense that, I've trained with vocalists up down the country and seen from rock to classical, and mashallah, you are a vocalist, Sultan plays the drums, and
Ulumi plays strings.
Yes, Ulumi is a great guitarist, bassist, that plays the rabab as well. So where does that come from, and how does that fit into the whole?
I'm going to say certain things and I might sound fascist, but I don't give a shit. It comes from where we come from. It comes from Hunza. It comes from having that Hunzai blood in you. And you're going to see Russians being proud of, like, oh, we are the Russians, and the Chechens being proud. You guys haven't seen the people from Gilgit-Baltistan. Trust me. We have yet to appear on the map. And then the day we do, we're going to fuck shit up for everyone. We're going to, it's seriously. But back, we're I don't know, 12, 13 generation Mongolians or Greeks. That's what it is. And we're mountain people. And the tradition has been to simplify it down. It's just been our forefathers used to go and loot the Silk Route, the old Silk Route. They would loot it, and they were badasses. Limited weaponry, but just like freaks of nature, and then just go and bring each and everything and drop it in front of the Mir or the ruler of Hunza, right? And then they tried to change the routes, and they tried to the Chinese government back then, they would, or the Chinese king, not the government back then, they would try to, they made this special force to deal with our guys. Jackie Chan has a movie on it as well, where they're showing, and I think they show a twisted version of they're protecting the Silk Route, and Jackie Chan shows how they kicked their ass. We're bullshit, Jackie Chan, we kicked your ass. We were beating the shit out of Chinese and then wiping the floor with them every day, looting them, and taking stuff, and we're doing all of that stuff. But back then the culture was just we're up in the mountains. If you've seen Hunza, there's not much agriculture, right? So it was just dancing, singing, partying, basically, hard work, working in the mountains, and then fighting. That's exactly why the British couldn't conquer us, and then they had to come. They couldn't. But the way we handled them was. They tried to, the typical divide and rule thing across the river was the state of Nagar.
Yeah.
They tried to get them on their side, and we went to them. Our forefathers look, are you guys really going to, believe those? They've conquered the whole frickin' subcontinent. Are you guys going to be with those? And then the people of Nagar, the state of Nagar, the ruler of Nagar, he misguided the British forces that came, and then we had our folks hiding in the caves in the mountains and everything, and then. When they actually there was no way of going back when the whole thing was on the mountain on the road, people started appearing from the caves, and they would just grab as many as they could, and they just started jumping off the mountains. I've never been scared to die. And then there was what the fuck's happening? Where are these people coming from? Before they could gather their senses, okay, mountain stones, these big stones started rolling down the mountain because they're on the. We had only 2 or 3 rifles with 11 bullets. That's everybody, everyone's eye knows that. Music was a big part of our culture. That was just our way of doing our catharsis, expressing ourselves. Because living in that environment, it's just so spiritual that you do that. And at the same time, the way people have been Islamized or people were converted was through music, was through qasida. So we have strong connections in Central Asia. Because I speak Wahi, it's an offshoot of, I don't know, some people say it's an offshoot of Farsi, basically, right? It's an offshoot of Farsi, and then the other language. I'm bilingual, so my mother speaks Brusheski. Brusheski is a prehistoric language, right? So in both, they're rich in music. It's rich in culture. Rubab and daf have been an integral part of our system, our religious system, our daily lives, and it's like you're never gonna see any Hunzai who doesn't like music, who doesn't like the dance. That's where it comes from, and so I mean, I guess it's a bit odd for people to see me like with this face and screaming at people, or like punching someone in the face, or choking someone out, or especially with Ulumi and Sultan. Like, I'm the weakest of them all, So I'm not very intimidating, but those two guys are. And then all of a sudden they go dang, 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 and then you're playing. They're like, what? It's a whole shift. It's very difficult for people to see that side of ours, and it was very actually difficult initially when we started this whole thing, and we started sort of getting a bit popular on the local scene for MMA, for our work in MMA. People, our friends were like, "Oh, guys, you guys you cannot sing like this, or you cannot party like this in front of people. You guys like martial arts." Like, yes, we're martial artists, but we're Hunzais first, man. We're never gonna give up on our heritage. That's the way we've been brought up. That's music. After MMA it's something that's our prism. The way through music we look at the world, and no matter what happens, no matter what anybody says, it's always gonna stick with us.
That just brings about a lot of things in my own head, because I had my first trip to the mountains when I was 3 years old, and as you might be aware, with the Islamabad Jeep Club, I have a history of going to the mountains, doing crazy stuff over there, and the crazy stuff mostly on my part means putting my amp together and singing in the mountains.
Yeah,
because apart from other things, you're very right about the culture. There is something that I feel the resonance in the mountains, because you're surrounded by so much rock. There are reflections there that's what I felt.
Yeah.
The resonance is very different from. It's different in the desert. It's different in the mountains, and it just seems like the air is ripe for musicality. And we'll leave that topic for another day, inshallah, because our batteries are running out. And it's been a pleasure. And I hope to carry on with this in one form or the other. And inshallah, wish you all the best.
Thank you so
much.
much.
And hope to see you again sometime.
Us.
Thank you.
Thank you.